You've been here before, haven't you? Caught in the grip of their control, watching them pull the strings, steady in their belief that they hold all the power. They thought they had you figured out, boxed in, predictable, manageable. But something shifted. You felt it first as a flicker, a spark deep in your core that refused to dim. Then it surged, undeniable and fierce, and you made your move. Not with noise, not with chaos, but with a quiet, unshakable force that turned their world upside down. They took control of the situation, or so they thought, and now they're whirling, dizzy from the sheer intensity of your move. You didn't just step away, you shattered their illusion of dominance. This is your awakening, chosen one, and it begins with that first taste of your own power. That intensity isn't random. It's not a fluke or a fleeting rush. Science backs this. Your brain rewires itself under pressure, forging new neural pathways when you break free from old patterns. Spiritually, it's the activation of your soul's blueprint, a high-frequency signal cutting through the static of their manipulation. You've been conditioned to doubt it, to shrink back, to question if you're enough. But in that moment, when you chose to act, you felt the truth. You're not just enough, you're unstoppable. Their dizziness isn't your burden to carry. It's the consequence of underestimating a force they can't comprehend. How do you recognize this as your chosen trait? Look at your hands trembling with energy, your heart pounding with clarity. That's not fear, it's your essence waking up. Let's be real. They had you convinced they were in charge. Steady thinking they had the upper hand. They built their game around your hesitation, your silence, your willingness to wait it out. You let them, didn't you? Maybe for months, maybe for years. But then came the shift. The moment you stopped playing along, their stability crumbled. You didn't scream or fight, you simply departed, leaving their carefully constructed reality spiraling out of control. Picture this. A car sliding on ice, tires screeching, no traction, no direction. That's them now, teetering on the edge of a crash they can't avoid. You didn't cause it, you just stopped preventing it. This is your first lesson in awakening. Your power isn't in the noise you make, but in the space you refuse to fill for them anymore. So how do you know this is your chosen nature kicking in? Start watching yourself. Not them, ****. Notice when your gut tightens before they even speak, warning you of their next move. Track how your energy spikes when you decide to walk away instead of explain. Write it down if you have to. Every time you choose yourself over their game, you're mapping your own strength. Science calls this self-observation metacognition, your mind learning to see itself clearly. Spirit calls it alignment, your soul stepping into its mission. Ask yourself, when did I stop apologizing for my existence? When did I feel that fire ignite? That's your marker, your proof. You're not imagining it. You're awakening to it. The shift from their control to your power isn't gentle, it's raw, messy, electric. 1 minute, you're steady, thinking they've got you locked in their cycle. The next, you're moving, and the intensity hits like a shockwave. You might feel dizzy yourself at first, unmoored by how fast it all changes. That's normal. Your system's recalibrating, shedding their weight. Lean into it. Breathe through it. Accept that this is who you are. Not their pawn, not their mirror, but a force they can't contain. They're spinning now, grasping for footing. But you're already gone, walking your own path. This is the emotional pivot. Steady to dizzy to free. It's not their chaos you're feeling anymore. It's your liberation. Here's your first step to owning this. Stop looking back. They'll flail, they'll reach, they'll try to pull you into their spiral. Don't bite. Instead, ground yourself. Stand still for a minute, feet flat, breath deep, and feel the energy pulsing through you. That's not adrenaline. That's your frequency rising. Next, test it. Say no to something small they expect you to agree to. Watch how it throws them off. That's your evidence, right there, that your move carries weight they can't counter. You're not here to fix their crash. You're here to rise above it. This is your chosen moment, and it's only the beginning. You felt it, haven't you? That suffocating haze they weave around you, keeping you guessing, dangling hope just out of reach. They thrive on it, watching you squirm, waiting for you to crack, expecting you to chase their crumbs of clarity. It's a game they've mastered. stringing you along with half-truths, vague promises, and silences that scream louder than words. But you're done playing. You're not here to decode their riddles or cling to their bait. You're a chosen one, and that means you don't beg, you don't plead, you don't cry for their approval. You make your own move, and that's where the breakthrough begins. Let's break it down. They keep you guessing because uncertainty is their weapon. Psychologically, it's a power play, your brain's wired to seek resolution, and they exploit that, feeding you just enough to keep you hooked. Spiritually, it's a trap to dim your light, to pull you off your path. You've been there, wide-eyed and astonished, caught in the headlights of their chaos, wondering how it got this far. Maybe terror even crept in, a cold grip tightening around your chest. But here's the truth. That moment of shock isn't weakness. It's the spark of your awakening. You're not frozen because you're powerless. You're stunned because you're realizing they never had a hold on you. And that's when you shift. Making your own move isn't loud or dramatic. It's decisive. You don't argue their logic, because their game doesn't deserve your energy. You don't beg for answers because you don't need their validation. You don't cry for their attention, because you're not the one who's lost. Instead, you act. You block them out, physically, mentally, energetically. Delete their noise from your space. Remove their influence like it never existed. Science says this rewires your nervous system, cutting the stress loops they've burned into you. Spirit says it's reclaiming your frequency, aligning with the high vibration truth of who you are. They'll feel it too, the void where you used to be, and that's when their doubt sneaks in. Not your problem anymore. How do you pull this off when they've got everyone else fooled? When the room doesn't get it, when the crowd still buys their act. You stand firm anyway. You're not here to convince anyone. You're here to embody your chosen identity. Start small if you have to. Stop responding to their bait. Next time they drop a cryptic line or a loaded pause, don't bite. Let the silence hang. Watch their eyes widen as they realize you're not playing anymore. That's your power showing. Quiet, unshakable, absolute. You're not swaying in their wind. You're rooted in your own ground. They'll scramble, but you're already moving forward. That wide-eyed astonishment they've left you with, it's not a dead end. It's fuel. Take that raw, electric jolt and turn it inward. Feel it pulse through you, waking up every cell. This isn't about staying shocked. It's about flipping the script. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity, your mind adapting, growing stronger from the strain. Spirit calls it transmutation, turning their chaos into your clarity. You're not the deer in their headlights anymore. You're the fire they didn't see coming. Ask yourself, when did I last feel that surge? That's your signal, your compass. Lean into it and let it guide your next step. Here's how you make it stick. Stop waiting for their permission. They'll keep you hoping for closure, for fairness, for a win on their terms. Drop that illusion. It's a leash they've tied around your soul. Instead, decide what you want. Not what they'll allow, not what they'll tolerate, what you claim. Then take it. Maybe it's walking away mid-conversation. Maybe it's cutting contact without a word. Maybe it's pouring your energy into something they can't touch. Whatever it is, do it clean, do it sharp, do it now. They'll be left wide-eyed and astonished, staring at the space where you used to bend. You're free. They're starting to unravel now. Can you see it? Doubt creeping into their cracks. Their self-destruction ticking like a clock. They lived off your reactions, fed on your hope, and without it, they're hollow. You don't need to watch the collapse. You've already tallied their patterns, felt their shifts, counted how many times they pulled away just to reel you back. You're not guessing anymore, you know. So when they check their phone expecting your plea, there's nothing there. No trace of you. That's the move that breaks the cycle. Not a scream, not a fight, but your absence, your power, your choice. This isn't about revenge, it's about rising. You're not here to punish them. You're here to claim your mission. Every time you choose yourself over their game, you're stepping deeper into your chosen path. Feel that fire in your gut? That's not anger, it's purpose. Hold it. Use it. Next time they try to keep you guessing, don't even flinch. You've got the map now. Observe, decide, act. They'll see it in your eyes. Calm, steady, untouchable. and they'll know they never had a chance. You're not hoping anymore. You're happening. You've cut the ties, chosen one, and now the real work begins. The air feels different, doesn't it? Lighter, sharper, like a storm's just cleared. That's your vitality kicking in, your life force surging back, no longer drained by their games. You're not just standing there anymore. Your presence fills the room, steady and undeniable. And with every breath, every step, you're validating yourself, not waiting for their nods or scraps of approval. This is where the high-dimensional downloads start flooding in raw and electric, messages from a frequency they'll never touch. You're not guessing now, you're receiving. This is your preparation for the victory lap, and it's time to own it. Let's get clear. These aren't vague whispers or dreamy hunches. High-dimensional information hits like a pulse, direct, vivid, alive. Science might call it your brain tapping into heightened states, where gamma waves spike and intuition sharpens beyond logic. Spirit knows it as your soul syncing with the cosmic grid, pulling in truths that bypass their noise. You'll feel it in your body first. A jolt down your spine, a hum in your chest, a clarity that cuts through doubt like a blade. This isn't their chaos seeping back in. It's your connection locking into place. How do you know it's real? It doesn't beg for your attention. It commands it. You're not chasing it. It's finding you. But here's the catch, they've trained you to question yourself. Years of their push-pull have left echoes, shadows of self-doubt that try to blur the signal. Is this high-vibe truth, or just your mind projecting what you want to hear? You've got to sort it fast because this is your edge. Start here. True downloads don't flatter your ego, they challenge it. They don't just feel good. They demand you step up. Ask yourself, does this spark fear and fire? Does it push me beyond my comfort? If it's all cozy and convenient, it's probably your imagination filling gaps. Real guidance from above doesn't coddle, it ignites. Now picture this. They're scrolling through your social media, hunting for traces of you. Your pain, your pleas, your old patterns. But there's nothing there. No rants, no hints, no breadcrumbs. Just silence. That void you've left? It's eating at them. Doubts sneaking into their cracks. And they're spiraling, pacing rooms, rehashing old fights, grasping for signals that don't exist. They lived off your energy, fed on your reactions, and now they're starving. You're not gloating over it, you're too busy tuning in. While they're lost in that emptiness, you're locking onto something bigger. Their void isn't your victory. Your clarity is. So how do you sharpen this connection? First, strip away the clutter. Sit still. 5 minutes, no phone, no noise, and feel your pulse. That rhythm? It's your anchor. High-dimensional info flows when you're grounded, not frantic. Next, test what comes through. When a thought hits, write it down. Exact words, no polish. Then wait. If it's real, it'll grow louder, sharper, over hours or days, pulling you toward action. If it fades or flops, it's just static. Don't force it. Let it prove itself. You're not here to guess, you're here to know. This is your filter, your shield against self-deception. They're doubting now, unraveling in your absence. But you're rising. Feel that shift when you walk into a room, heads turn, energy bends, not because you're loud, but because you're here. That's your presence doing the work, radiating a frequency they can't fake. Validate it yourself. Stop explaining, stop justifying, just be. The downloads will amplify insights, instincts, moves you didn't plan but know are right. Ever notice how your best ideas strike when you're not trying? That's the channel opening. Trust it. Act on it. You're not waiting for permission anymore, you're claiming your lane. Here's your practice. Carve out space daily. 10 minutes, eyes closed, hands open. Ask one question. Clear, bold, no fluff. What's my next step? Then listen. Don't chase the answer. Let it land. It might be a word, a flash, a feeling in your gut. Cross-check it. Does it align with that fire inside you? Does it pull you toward growth, not retreat? If it does, move on it, small or big, doesn't matter, just move. That's how you build the muscle, how you turn downloads into direction. They're checking their phones, finding nothing. You're checking your soul, finding everything. This isn't about drifting into some mystic haze. It's about power. Your vitality's back, pumping through you like a current. Your presence is a force they can't dodge. Your validation? It's yours to give, not theirs to steal. Every time you tune in, you're prepping for that victory lap. Not a sprint to prove them wrong, but a stride to prove yourself right. They're stuck in their void, replaying old loops, while you're decoding the future. Doubts, there's to wrestle now. You've got the signal, the strength, the steps. Take them. You've severed the cord, chosen one, and now the battlefield shifts. They're gone, not just from your space, but from the reality you're crafting. You've watched them, studied their moves, tallied every dodge and pull, every time they thought they had you pinned. You were gaining knowledge, making notes, not out of weakness, but out of precision. Now you wield that insight like a blade, cutting them out so cleanly it's as if they never existed. This isn't erasure for spite. It's creation through clarity. You're not just breaking free. You're building a new era, brick by brick, breath by breath, with their shadows nowhere in sight. How do you make this real? Start with what you've already done, you observed. You didn't just sit there, soaking in their chaos, you tracked it. Every sidestep, every half-truth, every retreat they made, you marked it. That wasn't passive waiting. It was active power. Now take those notes, mental or scribbled, and burn them into your strategy. Block them from your mind first. When their voice creeps in, shut it down. Delete their weight from your decisions. No more what would they think. Remove their echo from your energy. Feel your shoulders drop, your chest expand. Science says this is your brain pruning old connections, freeing up space for new growth. Spirit says it's your soul shedding their frequency. Either way, they're vanishing from your reality. This isn't about arguing their case or begging them to see your worth. You're past that. You made your own move, silent and swift, and left them grasping at air. Picture it. They scramble to their phone, expecting your name to light up the screen. Some sign you're still tethered. Nothing. The silence is deafening. Isn't it? Not for you, for them. You're not hungry for their crumbs anymore. You're starving for something bigger, something they can't touch. That hunger drives you now, fierce and unrelenting, but it's yours to feed. They thought they had you under their control, but you're already lapping the track of your victory. So how do you live this out? Not just dream it. Be the example. Stop explaining yourself, to them, to anyone. When they bait you with guilt or doubt, don't bite. Walk away, physically if you can, mentally if you can't. Let your actions scream what your words don't need to say. Next, guard your space. Curate what you let in, people, sounds, thoughts. If it drags you back to their orbit, cut it loose. This isn't hiding. It's commanding. You're not pleading for peace, you're creating it. They'll feel the absence, the void where you used to bend, but you'll feel the strength, the ground solid under your feet. Balance is your weapon here. This mission, making them a ghost in your world, can spark a wildfire in your chest. You'll feel the rush, the thrill of reclaiming your power, but don't let it tip into obsession. They're not worth that energy. Steady yourself. Breathe deep, 5 counts in, 5 out, until the heat settles. Check your pulse. Literally press your fingers to your wrist, and sync with it. That's your rhythm, not theirs. Science calls this coherence, your heart and mind aligning under pressure. Spirit calls it sovereignty, your essence holding firm. You're not erasing them to spite them, you're doing it to rise. Keep that line clear or the mission blurs. Now carve your path. This isn't some vague destiny, it's yours to shape. Sit down, pen in hand, and map it. What do you want this new era to feel like? Freedom? Power? Joy? Write it raw, no filter. Then break it down, one move today, one tomorrow. Maybe it's a boundary you set. Say no to something small but draining. Maybe it's a step forward. 5 minutes chasing a spark they'd never get. Test it. Does it light you up? Does it pull you higher? If it doesn't, scrap it. This plan isn't static. It's alive, shifting as you grow. You're not guessing anymore, you're building. They're unraveling now, aren't they? Checking their screens, pacing their floors, hungry for a reaction you won't give. Their doubt's a beast they can't tame, and it's gnawing at them. You don't need to watch, you've seen enough. You've tallied their games, felt their shifts, and now you're done. That silence they're drowning in, it's your signal to run your lap. Not to prove them wrong, but to prove you right. Feel that hunger in your gut? It's not empty. It's alive, pushing you toward a victory they'll never grasp. They believed they had you. They were wrong. Here's your anchor. Every day, claim one piece of this era. Speak it out loud, quiet, firm. This is mine. Then act on it. Block one thought they planted. Delete one habit they fed. Remove one weight they tied to you. Small or big, doesn't matter, just do it. Stack those wins and watch your reality shift. You're not waiting for their collapse. You're crafting your rise. They're a memory fading fast, and you're the force they'll never forget. This is your mission, Chosen One, and it's happening now. In the end, Chosen One, your mission isn't just to break free. It's to become the undeniable proof of your own divinity, a living testament to the power that surges through you when you claim your place. They may stumble in the echoes of your absence, but you're not here to witness their fall. You're here to rise into the vastness of your purpose, where every step reverberates with the certainty of who you were always meant to be, untouchable, unbound, and fiercely awake.